listening to Dance Studio Owner Life Coaching. I am your host, Ginger Haithcox, and today I have a special guest, Jenny O'Brien, former studio owner turned virtual assistant for studios. And we are talking about what we can do to prepare for the new season. We know schools go back in August and September, and we thought this is perfect timing to get the word out, talk about things that you can do to feel prepared and well organized as you go into the 2025-26 season. Now, a little bit about how Jenny and I connected. We both were members of Idea Dance, now called the Studio Owner Alliance, and we just found that, you know what, we were in the same age range and same kind of level of owning our studio for a while, and we found ways to just connect and share stories. And since then, we have both become part of my Elevate Mastermind. It is the peer-led mastermind for dance entrepreneurs, a minimum of 10 years in business, and we have high-level conversations. We're not talking about figuring out registration or complaining about parents. This is high-level conversations with people who have multiple inputs into our industry, whether they have a studio, they also are authors, they're also involved in other products and services in the dance industry. We are talking to people who have influence beyond their own studio. And so within our peer mastermind, we have really good conversations that kind of take it to the next level. And we're able to connect with other high achievers, which is so refreshing. If you're interested in learning more about Elevate, you can find that on my website, gingerhaithcox.com/elevate. Learn more. And if you think you qualify and this might be a good fit for you, go ahead and fill out the application. Now, before we get into this episode, I want you to get out a pen and paper because you're going to want to take notes. There's so much good information through this conversation with Jenny, and I want to make sure you don't miss any of it. If you're driving, don't do that. It's not the time to write down. If you're driving, you can go ahead and listen in and then go back when you have a chance and jot down the things that you want to go ahead and take action on in your business. Now I'll go ahead and start the interview. Hello, everyone. Today I'm excited to have Jenny O'Brien back on the podcast. And she is the owner of 5678 Assist. And she provides virtual assistant services to dance studio owners. I'm excited to have her on the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about things that you can delegate, things to think about as we go into the new season for the 2025-2026 season. And I just want to give you a warm welcome. Hello, Jenny. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about your background before we get started?
So I will try to keep my background short because it's quite a long journey. I majored in communications, and then from 2003 to 2012, I was in marketing and communications, and I taught dance on the side. And then in 2012, I started a traveling dance studio, left the corporate life. It quickly blew up, and so then I was able to obtain my own space and did that, was very successful. My studio was Dreams Dance Academy. It just grew and grew every year. We even bounced back after COVID, bigger and better than we ever had been. But I had a change of heart and decided to sell my studio. So I sold Dreams in June 2024. And since then, I've been doing virtual assistance and consulting for dance studio owners. And I have loved it. I also published my first children's book. And now I am back to actually working a full-time position in a totally different career, just back in tourism. I was in that before I sold my studio, but I'm still doing my virtual assistants on the side because I absolutely love it. So I do that on the weekends and at night, and it's really picked up this summer. So I know everyone needs lots of help. So I'm excited to help you for any studio owners that need an extra hand or two.
Yeah. So one of the things that is happening this time of year, people are doing kind of like a split between summer finances when things kind of are a little bit slower, and getting a little nervous about the new season enrollment for the fall. Um, from your experience, do you have any thoughts about things that would be high priority items to make sure that a studio owner focuses on, um, and not forget about while you're kind of worried about numbers and money and what's happening in this season of our business?
So things to do in the summer.
Yeah.
So personally, I've been doing this summer a lot of handbooks. That has been my number one job. And for handbooks, I'm talking student handbook, faculty handbook, team handbook, team as far as your competition team, recreational performance team, whatever you have. Also leadership academy, so that's your student assistants. So that's 4 different types of handbooks, but most of them have been student and faculty handbooks. So a lot of people have their handbook and maybe just a Word document, or they've got multiple documents and they need it put together visually appealing in an organized way. So that's what I do. So you have to have the copy, and then I take it and I can give you some feedback, but I don't write the whole handbook. Other things that have been popular: website refreshes. Summer is a time to get your website refreshed. Think of, at least how I ran my studio, I would think of any question, every little program, opportunity, event that we have, you need to have everything on your website and in a clear and organized manner. So I've done a lot of website refreshes, I'll call them. Some have been just little refreshes. Others have been like a completely rebranded website. I recently also helped somebody design a new logo. So I have my graphic designer that I used to work with. She created all my logos. She created this client a new logo, and then I redid the website, and it's just looks incredible. She just had a very basic website before. What else? I recently done a marketing plan for somebody that's doing something big and new with their studio. So came up with like a social media calendar, events, and other press release schedule, other just a whole plan for like a month of how to get this announcement out. Social media templates, that's another one. Get that done in the summer. So I've done jobs where I create, say, 5 social media templates. So maybe you have a student birthday one, faculty birthday. If you do pop-up camps or special events, a monthly special event. And then just like a general one that you can tweak to be anything you need to make an announcement about. But so lots of branding or rebranding and just making sure everything is aligned, looks the same with your colors, your logo. I mean, it sounds so simple, but that's what a lot of people want help with. And that's what I love doing. And now is the time to do that.
Yeah. One of the things I think is helpful about your business and your service is that a lot of people know that they want to update, refresh, or rebrand rather, but they don't have the skill set, and they are literally spending hours trying to figure it out when they could hire someone and get that off their plate, free up their time so that they can focus on some other things that kind of are within their wheelhouse. When you talk about like updating handbooks, are any things kind of rising as like a trending thing that's getting added to handbooks this year that maybe wasn't in handbooks 5 years ago?
Ooh, that's a good question. I will say, I think something I've just noticed with a lot of the handbooks I've worked on this summer, even as compared to like say last summer or last school year. Because sometimes I've worked on handbooks and I've thought, ooh, they don't have this or that, and that's so important. So I'll make a suggestion, But the ones I've worked on this summer, I've been like, ooh, something must have happened that they included this in there. And that is great because I've been there, I've done that.
Yeah.
More than that, my handbook was very detailed and covered every little thing because you got to. But a lot of times something will happen
Yeah.
and you think, ooh, I don't have that in my handbook. Like that's not a policy. So I don't have anything in writing to back me up, whether it's with faculty or students. So I
Yeah.
will say I've seen a lot. I guess my point is I've seen a lot more handbooks that are really good and like, okay, they're covering all their bases. And I just think that's a sign of in today's world, does that make me sound old? But I mean, it's just a different world and I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So this would actually be a good time to like go through your incident and accident reports, go through any email exchanges or parent meetings that you might have had, or maybe disciplinary meetings you've had with staff members, and see if there's something that might be added to your handbooks before this new season starts. So that's really good to bring up. Thank you. Um, as we look into this, I know some people are also doing winter performances. And so, where some people are preparing for the new season, others are preparing for the new season, and at the same time preparing to audition or put out information for a wintertime show. Are there any things that people can do to help get prepared in that regard for a December performance?
Ooh, good question, because that's perfect to do right now. I would say I'm big on lists. Um, now, August 1st, I can't believe it. Either on an Excel doc, Word doc, doesn't have to be anything fancy. I would say map it out month by month. And what are you going to do each month to either promote that event, or what do you need to do that month to get out the communication you need to get out to students and parents, and just have it all mapped out. What the task is, who's going to handle that task, where to find the document or whatever it is that needs to be communicated. But do it now because one, a plan. I mean, it's a plan, a list, you got to have it. But also, once the season starts, I mean, we all know how crazy the beginning of the season is in
Yeah.
September, August, whenever you start. So, yeah, costume ordering too on that list, like any and everything. Like I
Yeah.
said, whether it's an in studio task or for students and parents, get it mapped out now.
I like one of the things you said, like whether it's an Excel sheet or just write it down with pencil and paper. It's important to remember that. I think we are in a time where we are inundated with software options, and there's project management software, there's studio software, CRMs. There's so many things that people kind of feel like, oh, I need this. But before all of that was pen and paper, and it's still totally valid and actually is the thing that works for so many people. So thank you for mentioning that, because I think that's important to remember, because this is my opinion. Now is not the time to implement a new software. When it is peak season for your registration systems, peak season for inquiries, back to school time, now's not the time to implement a new software. Use what you have, maybe make note of things that you might want to change for the future, but now is not the time to, hey, let me try this new software I heard about in a summer conference. Now's not the time for that.
Yeah, and you know what? I definitely, the last year, I have learned about so many new programs or software that are out there. And I feel like I was always up to speed on everything, but there's been so much since I don't know, since I've come out of studio ownership. I don't know what the right term is, but yeah, when I'm working with clients, I've been like, oh, what's that? A lot of social media software programs. And there's another one that helps with referrals. I don't know the right terminology.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot out there, and I can see how it would get overwhelming. And also, maybe people might be getting into spending a little too much money than they really need to.
Yeah,
I mean, you can do a lot with an Excel
for sure.
document. Even like a social media calendar, that's what I use, just an Excel doc, and
Yeah.
all you need.
Yeah. I always say to people, the best system is the one that you actually use. What are you actually going to use? Are you going to get an expensive CRM that your staff doesn't understand, that you don't understand, and you're paying for features you're not using? Or are you going to work with a system that, hey, this is easy enough, we can figure it out, um, and actually put it to use and make it a useful tool that you're getting a return on that investment?
Hmm.
Um, what else would you say is something that, as people are preparing for a new season, that would be an important thing? You mentioned websites. What kinds of things are people doing maybe differently on websites nowadays?
I think more studio owners are realizing just how important a good, healthy website is than used to be. But again, everyone gets, people rarely are picking up the phone and calling a studio without looking at their website. People would, I know for me, no matter what it is that I'm looking up, a restaurant, I don't know, a gym, you get online. That's the first thing you do and you look at their website.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the websites that I've worked on, people are wanting more. It's really just getting more information on there. Like the
Okay.
real, um, they're just realizing you got to have every and anything, like I said in the beginning, on your
Yeah.
website. Also, this sounds so silly, but is it branded correctly? Are you using the correct colors from your logo? Do you have a good header and footer? A lot of websites I've worked on, they don't even have a header and footer. So I've just, doesn't take long, make a nice header and footer. It's on every single page. It's got your logo, phone number, email, and it looks nice. Another big thing is, I think most people are catching on to this now with websites. Always make sure that you're editing the mobile version as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. And that's time, that can be time consuming, depending on, I only use Wix. I'm a Wix girl. That's all I know. But, sometimes editing that mobile site can get a little tedious, but it's so important because I don't know a accurate percentage, what the true percentage is, but most people are accessing your website on their phone.
Yeah. Yeah. At least 80% of my website volume is coming from mobile device, either a phone or a tablet. So
Mhm.
for sure, that's really important. One of the things that you mentioned was that, people are, they're looking at information online and they want to just get the information they need, and that's kind of in alignment with what we're doing elsewhere. I mean, you can place a whole order for grocery pickup, never talk to a person, and they just come put it in your trunk for you. Or you can do so many things just fully online, including opening a bank account. I have seen recently a lot of studios, they haven't finished their fall schedule, and so they're just like, oh, just call. Or worse, in my opinion, they're not even updating their website. So it still says fall 2024 registration. What might be some suggestions in that case where maybe you don't have your schedule finalized yet? What could kind of go on the website in place of that?
Ooh, okay. So yeah, that's funny you mentioned that because I have noticed that this summer that a lot of places haven't necessarily had their schedules up as soon as they should. Now, I want to start this by saying I was guilty of that sometimes. I always wanted to get my school year schedule done and published in April, May.
Yeah.
Did that happen all the time? No. I think with COVID, that's when I started slacking on it because things were a little tricky. Um, so, in case anyone's listening and they're like, wait a minute, I think I saw her get her fall schedule out in July one time. I know, guilty is charged. But it's August 1st now, and if you don't have that schedule out, like you got to get that done. But the schedule is we all know that is the hardest, one of the hardest tasks that you do as a studio owner. And just, I mean, I would say try not to change it too much every year. Like, don't just start from scratch. But
Yeah.
I know that that's hard with staff changes, and maybe this person can't do this day anymore, but they're the only ones that can do this class. So I get it. So, in place of it, if you don't have it done, I mean, I wouldn't have your schedule up from last season because people might think, oh, their schedule might not change as much. Oh, gosh. I don't know, maybe just something exciting about the new year and click here to email us, click to call. I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anything you would put in place of a schedule that makes up for a schedule.
Yeah.
I
But I
don't.
think to your point, having a way to at least get in contact, because I
Mm,
think we run the risk of people thinking, well, they don't even keep their website up to date, so they just shut down and don't even look beyond that
mm.
home page if they see something from a past date. You know, it's one thing if you haven't updated it since the weekend and it had an event on there, but if your website still says fall 2024 and it's August of 2025, people are going to make the assumption that you don't update anything.
Okay,
So,
I did think of something. These are great, and I started utilizing these more the last few years. You could have a pop-up box. So if
mm,
someone goes to the schedule page, you have a pop-up. Sometimes people think they can't X out of it without signing up, but they can. But most people will input their email address. So you could put something like, make it exciting. You don't never want to make it sound like, oh, we're so sorry, our schedule's not done yet. You know, be the first to know when our new school year schedule is hot off the press, something like that. But have a nice picture, and then a space where they have to put their name, email. You can get really detailed and ask them to put their child's age, if they're a new student, returning student. So then you also have a list to work off to contact them in the meantime if you wanted to. But yeah, pop-up boxes, those are good.
yeah,
They're
that's a
called
really good
light boxes
suggestion.
on Wix if you use Wix, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really important that people have a way for people to reach out and for you to be able to follow up with those leads when you do have the information that they're looking for. Um, and I'm not seeing that on websites, which is surprising to me. So, all right. So we talked about kind of the registration, getting things ready, handbooks, websites, even advanced communication for your winter shows and things like that. Um, are there any other kind of things in this time of year that you would say are an important element of this time, like towards the second half of the summer?
Yes, I thought of something that I didn't mention earlier that I should have. Your calendar for the year. That was always something. Honestly, there were sometimes I had that done before the schedule.
Yeah,
Those years that I was a little behind in getting the schedule out when I wanted to. But making that school calendar, studio calendar, whatever you want to call it, for the year, it's not you don't have to have the schedule done to do that. It's not hard, but also if you don't have the entire school year calendar on your website, just know parents are going to be asking you lots of questions when you could have just put it on your website and don't have to field those
yeah,
because I mean, and I get it, I empathize with them. They're trying to plan vacations. People plan their spring break vacation or Christmas vacation. They plan that early. Or even just maybe a kid wants to sign up to be in a play at school, but they don't know when the studio is doing this or
yeah,
that. So a studio calendar covering the entire season, get that done in the summer. Sometimes I would do, this is a great way to start, especially if you don't do this yet. If you don't get it all done in the summer, this is a great way to ease into it. Just get August through December done now.
yeah,
Put that on your website ASAP because you want that on your website when the schedule is, because they do kind of go hand in hand. And then maybe September, October, when you're in the swing of things, then get January through May or June on the website. So I'm talking all the studio holidays. If you do pop-up camps, every pop-up camp, depending on how many shows you do a year, show rehearsal dates, show dates. Um, Theme weeks, we would always get those set in the beginning of the season. Like we would do things like crazy hair week, crazy sock day, whatever. So all of those monthly happenings, and I'm not talking things like costume fee due. I mean, some people do
right.
that, but this is more like the big ticket items. So get
Yeah.
that done now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Parents are definitely looking to book their other activities, things with their other children, and their work and vacation schedule. So, very good idea to get those things together. So, Jenny, if people are interested in learning more about your services and um, finding out, what might be a good fit to help get some things off their plate, where can they find you?
You can go to 5678assist.com. And hopefully, since we're talking about websites, hopefully you think I've got everything you need to know on my website. I will say I haven't updated it recently with taking on this new job. So I have to get add some more things to my portfolio. But my email and my packages are on my website. So check me out there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I will put the link to that in the show notes so you guys can follow up and learn more about Jenny and her services. And I just want to say thank you so much for being on today's episode.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. I always love chatting with you.
Yes, me too.